It's often said that great commercial empires are built over decades. We're taught that in order to conquer the beauty markets, you need some French heritage, Hollywood star, and enormous marketing budget. But the thing is that by 2026, these rules are completely dead. So let's look closer at these objects. It's a blue jar of moisturizer, so it has no century-long history. The brand that is created has no aristocratic pedigree, but yet in just 3 years, this beauty item became the most wanted beauty product in the hands of millions of Southeast Asian consumers. And only in Indonesia, 5 million of items were sold. So Skintific didn't just enter the market, they managed to hijack it. So they emerged in 2021, and within just 12 months, they became the absolute #1 brand in TikTok shop Indonesia, leaving the global giants like Estée Lauder and L'Oréal scrambling to understand what had just happened. So it's a story about precision, about Chinese manufacture that started every failure of Western brands in Asia. They reverse engineering the Southeast Asia consumer psyche and managed to build the distribution machine that operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without ever sleeping. So, hi, I'm Nina. I'm business development expert with 7 years experience across Southeast Asian markets. And my main goal of this channel is to share the case studies of foreign companies and local companies that decided to take a leap in this region. So we will explore the local nuances, the cultural gravity, of course, the specific consumer psyche that global giants so often ignore. So if you want to understand how tradition meets technology in 2026 and how to win the markets where culture is and the ultimate business strategy, then subscribe to my channel. But today our focus is Skintific takeover. So how Chinese ODM company managed to create this Canadian heritage, built a cult around ingredients, and forced the algorithm to work for them. If you ask anyone in Indonesia, so where actually Skintific comes from, you will get 3 different answers. So some of them will tell you that it's from Canada, others will swear that it's a Norwegian brand, and only few knows the truth that actually it's a Chinese company. But this answer doesn't tell you the whole story. So the real story begins in Guangzhou, China, but not in 2021 when Skintific was officially launched, but decades earlier in 1998 when a company called Guangdong Essence Daily Chemical was founded. So it was typical ODM company, original design manufacturer. So their business model was quite simple. So they created these cosmetic formulations. You give them the concept and they return you back the finished product with your label on it. So for more than 20 years, Guangdong Assets operated in shadows, and no one actually know their name. So they manufactured their products for various brands in North America, in Asia, in Europe, and actually no one knew their name because that was the whole point. But by 2020 something has changed, and the company's leadership saw an opportunity that Western brands were too slow to recognize in that market. Besides that, Southeast Asia was exploding, so TikTok decided to launch their TikTok shop. Young consumers, young users in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, they spent 8 to 9 hours on their phones. Traditional retail was also collapsing because of the COVID. So at that time, digital first brands, they were capturing the massive market share. So it was excellent moment for the launch. So instead of just manufacturing products for other people's brands, they decided to create their own brand that will be specifically designed for Southeast Asia. And the most maybe brilliant part is that decide not to position it as Chinese, but instead of it, they would create this fictional origin story. So let's talk about the mythology of Skintific. So Skintific, they claimed, was founded in 1957 by 2 Scandinavian scientists in Oslo. After that, the product was developed by Canadian researchers, and the whole company operated quietly somewhere in North America and Europe for decades. And the story was perfect because it has this scientific credibility, and besides that, it has this Western prestige. The reality, actually, none of that was true. So, indeed, there was such company, such Norwegian retail, skin retail, was founded in 1957. But the thing is, that was a completely separate company that produced other brands' products. So, Skintific, that was launched in 2021, was wholly owned by Guangzhou Feimei Network, a company that was created especially for international expansion. And this entire Canadian Norwegian story was a borrowed marketing that was made especially to give the product this Western credibility in Southeast Asian market. So why we're actually talking about this story and why it's important? Mainly because in Southeast Asian market, this Western origin still give an enormous psychological weight. So a cream from Canada is perceived as more advanced, as more trustworthy and more premium rather than the cream from China. Even if the content is the same, ingredients are the same, and the cream itself produced at the same factory. So Skintific understood this gap and they decided to use it, and looks like made it brilliantly. Yeah, so in late 2020, so all the pieces were put in place. Guangzhou Feimei, they registered the brand. They created this fiction origin story. So they formulated the products specifically for tropical heat and for skin concerns of Southeast Asian consumers. Yeah, it's oil control and acne. Besides that, they create this new package that looks like a scientific, clinical, yes, with this blue and white aesthetics. And the last missing part was a local partner. So they need someone that will help them to operate in Indonesia. Here is this PTMA San Ivan, the Indonesian distributor and official license holder for Skintific in Indonesia. So their main goal was not to manufacture the product, but instead to help manage their logistics, help with local marketing, and maybe most important, to understand the dynamics of Indonesian social commerce. So in August 2021, Skintific officially launched in Indonesia. Every product was registered with Indonesian National Agency of Drug and Food Control, which is very important. The packaging listed as Guangdong Essence as manufacturer. The marketing highlight this Canadian Norwegian story. So the flagship product, it was 5x ceramide barrier repair moisture gel. It was priced at 60,000 rupiah, which is about 4 to 5 US dollars. So it was affordable enough to be accessible and expensive enough to feel premium. So once again, it's quite a data-driven invasion disguised as skincare, and later you will understand that the target wasn't just Indonesia, but instead the target was the whole Southeast Asian digital economy. So to understand why Skintific actually succeeded at that time, we should first discuss why actually Indonesia was a perfect market at that time. So Indonesia is world's fourth most populous country in the world with 277 million people. 70% of these people are under age of 40. The median age is 29. So it's a continent of digital natives who grew up with their phones. They did not transition to e-economy because they actually were born in it. So according to the latest reports, average Indonesians spent 8 to 9 hours per day, and out of this time 3 hours they spent on social media. And they're not like passive viewers, the active participants of this digital economy that barely exists several years ago. Also important to highlight that Indonesia's digital economy surged $150 billion in 2025, according to the Economy Southeast Asian report from Google, Temasek, and Bain and a company. The beauty and personal care sector alone is valued at $6.8 billion and growing, constantly growing at 8 to 10% annually. But the real insight here is cultural. So the thing is that in Indonesia, skincare is social currency, is status. So hashtags like skincare Indonesia or glow skin in Indonesia accumulated billions of views. Young men and women, they document their skincare, they share their reviews about the products, they build the community around these brands, skincare brands. This no longer consumerism, it's become the identity of this people. And then TikTok Shop entered the equation. So launched in Indonesia 2021, TikTok Shop wasn't just another marketplace. They completely reimagined of how commerce works. So on Shopee or on Tokopedia, it's you who search for some particular products. But in TikTok, it's the product that finds you. So you're just scrolling the feed and there will be some girl who's like demonstrating her skincare routine, and suddenly there will be this yellow basket. So several clicks later, and you ordered something that you actually didn't know that you need several seconds ago. So that was a completely changed of how the commerce works. So by 2020, for TikTok Shop Indonesia generated $6.5 billion in gross merchandise value, 35 increase year over year. Beauty and personal care is top 3 category by sales volume. So the platform was perfectly designed for impulse purchases, algorithm discovery, and social proof. So in September 2023, the Indonesian government even decided to temporarily ban the social commerce because they decided to protect the traditional retailers. So there was a panic among the sellers that use TikTok as the main platform. They have to change their distribution channels. But by December 2023, TikTok Shop returned. It cost them about $1.5 billion. So they invested in Tokopedia, Indonesia's largest e-commerce platform. So the ban was lifted. So the TikTok Shop returned and became even more powerful than it was before. How about Skintific? So they launched in August 2021, just as TikTok Shop was gaining traction. By the time ban hit in September 2023, they already were quite dominant on this market. So when TikTok Shop returned in December 2023, Skintific was positioned to capture the pent-up demand. So that was great timing. So let's sum up. So Indonesia is a massive digital native population with disposable income and cultural obsession with skincare. So traditional retail was dying, e-commerce platforms were exploding, so social commerce was the future. At the same time, Western brands were too slow to recognize they were too expensive, too disconnected from the local needs. So there was a gap, and Skintific filled it. Most business case studies, they treated virality like a collection of isolated tactics, discounts, influencers, or trending sounds. But the thing is, and I think that in 2026, everyone understands that virality is all about a system. So Skintific didn't just build a marketing campaign, but instead of it, they built an operating system for attention. So let's talk about each of the parts of this system. So Skintific didn't just market as a beauty company. Instead of it, they marketed like a laboratory. The flagship product, it wasn't about glowing skin. It was the 5X ceramide barrier repair moisture gel. So the clinical branding was a perception strike for Southeast Asian psych, because by 2026, Generation Z, and they're not asking like, will this cream make my skin glowing? They're asking what is the percentage of zinc or niacinamide in this product. So Skintific understood this model. They understood that modern consumers that were taught by Korean beauty products, they're more concerned about the content, they're more concerned about the results, about the evidence, and at least they want to feel it. Plus, they added this fictional Western branding, provided an instant trust shortcut. So in the region, Western heritage still is a synonym for high technology, clean formulations. So that was the first lesson from Skintific playbook. So heritage is flexible, credibility is non-negotiable. So if you can't inherit the history, you engineer it through scientific authority. While legacy brands treat live streaming as occasional promotion, Skintific treats it as infrastructure. So at almost any time, at any day, someone from Skintific will be online. So by 2024, they were running over 600 hours of live commerce a month using some rotating shifts of hosts. So these hosts, again, they're not like salesperson, they are conversion optimizers. So a typical stream compress the entire consumer journey into 15 minutes. So the first parts will be about demonstrating some redness reduction, hydration level in real time. After that, there will be some educational parts where they will educate about how each of the components works. And it ends with a flood of social proof. So some purchase notification, definitely there will be countdown timer that will push you to finish the purchase and make the fear of missing out quite unbearable. That reveals a quite deeper principle. In algorithm economy, operational consistency beats occasional creativities. The winners are not those artistic brands, they are ones who are capable of sustaining industrial scale attention every single day. Usually we see that Western brands pay $1 million one celebrity for one campaign, but Skintific decided to pay 1,000 micro-influencers $100 for continuous campaign. It's no longer an influencer marketing, but it's a distributed propaganda. So can you just imagine you're opening TikTok or Instagram and you see 5 different people that are talking about one particular product in 5 different styles. So some of them just sharing before after, some make these 30-day challenges. Brain stops categorizing it like an ad, so it's look like something cultural movement. So by July 2024, hashtags Skintific had hit 450 million views. Through aggressive affiliate commissions, Skintific transformed the entire generation of TikTok users into decentralized sales force. And again, it looked like organic, but the thing is that it operates like a machine. So Skintific's greatest advantage over global giants was, of course, speed. While legacy corporations, they move through layers of approvals, digital native brands move through feedback loops. Besides that, they decided to move to the manufacturing from China to Indonesia, which actually helps them to speed up the delivery time. Again, in TikTok era, speed is the ultimate survival mechanism. If you can't restock at algorithm speed, your product quality is irrelevant. Final pillar, which is quite invisible, it's algorithm mastery. So Skintific started TikTok like a laboratory. So they A/B tested almost everything: thumbnail, video lengths, some trends, music, hooks, etc. So they even coordinated the influencers' posts in waves to trigger the artificial trading moments. Besides that, if data showed some spike in oil control searches, the host will definitely highlight the product that was designed for this particular problem. So once again, the new reality of business is that data over intuition. So Skintific turned this digital chaos into quite predictable sales wheel, where at the live stream they funded affiliates triggered the algorithm, and algorithm pushed new viewers back to the stream. So Skintific is not just another beauty company, it's a distribution machine disguised as skincare. So let's talk about what actually happened. August 2021, launched month, 50,000 units sold. Just in 42 months later, in March 2025, 2.4 million units per month. That's a 48-fold increase in less than 4 years. So the increase is not linear, it's exponential. So in just 3 years, cumulative sales in Southeast Asia exceeded 114 million US dollars according to TMO Group analysis. For the context, this is more revenue that many legacy brands can generate in a decade. A brand that actually didn't exist in 2020 became a 9-figure business by 2024. And of course, the awards validated the momentum. So they get this Best Moisturizer, Best Newcomer Brand, TikTok Shop Sales Championship for Indonesia and Malaysia in 2023, TikTok Shop Global Sales Champion for entire beauty category in 2024. So it's kind of market validation also. Besides that, the operational infrastructure scaled to match. By 2024, they moved from Chinese shipping with 7 to 10 days delivery to localized fulfillment centers across Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand. So the delivery time for major Indonesian cities dropped to 24-48 hours. So speed became a competitive weapon. 50 people are constantly running live stream operations in shifts. So they had 1,200 content creators that managed and tracked even the customer service. So they handling tens of thousands inquiries per month across every platform. But the most remarkable result was the perceptual. So in 2024, brand study by Cube Asia stated that Indonesian consumers rated Skintific as equal to prestige brands like Estée Lauder, Shiseido, or Clarins. So it was a cultural penetration. So they had achieved what Western brands spent decades pursuing, its category ownership. So when something discussed as ceramides or barrier repair, they will definitely name a Skintific as a brand that can offer these components. Forget New York or Paris, the future commerce is being built in Jakarta, Manila, and Bangkok. Skintific is the proof that Southeast Asian is no longer emerging markets. Instead of it, it's their market. So if you're not dominating in TikTok Shop, Lazada, or Shopee, your product quality is irrelevant. So here is the new playbook for this region. Social commerce is default, micro-influencers are primary, and of course, live streaming is the infrastructure, not some occasional marketing. So Skintific is just template. So they mastered Indonesia, and after that they replicated to other regions, to Malaysia, to Thailand and Philippines, Vietnam, using almost the same mechanism. The results, so from zero, they managed to achieve $200 million regional powerhouses in less than 6 years. The pace that's physically impossible for Western brands nowadays. So Skintific wasn't just a lucky brand again, it was a quiet, data-driven strategy. So Southeast Asia has become the fastest brand building machine on earth. Chip manufacturing, TikTok commerce, massive mobile first populations, and consumers who are ready to switch brands overnight. But the West is still building the brands like it was in 2015. And here they build them at algorithm speed. And Skintific just one of them. So the region is full of the stories like that. Which Southeast brands should I dissect next? Please let me know in the comment section. Thank you and bye.